is Alicia Shapiro with AiNews.com, and welcome to another episode of our Driving Tomorrow Conversations with Industry Leaders, where we explore the latest developments and newest innovations in the world of artificial intelligence. Today, I'm excited to be speaking with Daniel Burrus, Global Technology Futurist, AI Strategist, and Strategic Advisor. Daniel is widely recognized as one of the world's leading futurists on technology-driven trends and disruptive innovation. He's the creator of hard trend methodology and anticipatory organization model, both used by Fortune 500 companies and government organizations worldwide to anticipate change and disruption into opportunity. In today's conversation, we'll explore how businesses can use AI to identify future opportunities before they happen, how anticipatory thinking can redefine leadership in the AI era, and the hard trends shaping the next wave of innovation. And be sure to stay tuned to the end because Daniel is sharing two complimentary resources with our audience: Top 25 Tech Trends Report for 2026 and AI Strategy Report, both filled with practical insights for leaders navigating the future of AI. So thank you for joining us today, Daniel.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad to have you here. So let's start with the big picture. What have you been working on? What are some early indicators that helped you see AI's long-term potential? And how do you recognize the signals today for what's next in AI?
I'm going to give this very quickly so that everyone has a little bit of idea of my background.
Yeah.
So I started out teaching biology and physics,
Oh,
had an idea for an airplane design. So I designed it, built it, test flew it, and ended up with 37 national locations in the first year.
wow.
Left teaching, had another idea and another one. So within 2 years, I had four companies running at the same time, all doing really well, but I missed teaching.
Yeah.
So I decided to sell all those companies and start my research firm.
Hmm.
And so I spent a year researching global innovations in every area of technology: lasers, robots, genetics, fiber optics, you name it, coming up with my methodologies. I've written 6 best-selling books on it, New York Times bestsellers and global bestsellers. I've got learning systems on it. And what I'm trying to do, boiling it all down, is I want people to be far more anticipatory and far less reactionary.
Hmm.
The quick take on that, because this is important for me to share with you all as you're looking at the future of AI, and that is that agility is the thing that people are using, the strategy to deal with the rapid pace of technological change.
Yeah.
However, AI is advancing at beyond exponential speed right now. And agility is reactionary. It came
Hmm.
from sports, reacting as quickly as you can to a disruption after it disrupts, reacting as quickly as you can to a problem after it occurs.
Yeah.
So the way I'm looking at it is that has decreasing value every year as the pace of change increases. Now, I didn't say no value, decreasing value. What I'm doing is balancing with the other side of the coin, how to be anticipatory, how to anticipate problems before you have them so you can pre-solve them, how to anticipate disruptions before they disrupt so disruption becomes a choice. And again, what I'm doing is framing up my concepts for you as we get into AI. So basically, to do that and to be anticipatory, I've separated all trends
Hmm.
into 2 columns. They're either a hard trend based on a future fact that will happen. By the way, the litmus test for that is it can't be changed.
Okay.
Or it's a soft trend based on an assumption that may or may not happen. I didn't say it won't happen, but when it comes to innovation and risk and forecasting, it's good to know a future fact from a future maybe.
That's
So,
true.
very quick example, non AI example. In the United States, there are 10,000 people turning 70 years old every day. They're not going to get younger.
Right.
Future fact, they will get older. And actually, we can predict a bunch of problems and pre solve them, or we can let them play out. Let's pick one more without AI, a technology one. We went from 4G wireless to 5G wireless. Is that it? No, we're going to have 6G wireless followed by 7. I'm already working with a company on 6G.
Wow.
And if you don't like AI, you can't turn it off. It's going to
Hmm.
continue to expand and go at exponential levels. The key is, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the keys for AI news here is talking about it. And I first identified AI, and this will freak you all out, but when I did my initial research, identified AI as one of the 20 core technologies that would grow exponentially, shaping the future in 1983.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going back
Wow.
that far. And by the way, AI was being used by companies back then. It was an if-then scenario. They were using it for seeing if you could get a bank loan or car insurance. So AI has been around for a long time, longer than most of us realize.
Yeah.
Then we ended up getting machine learning as the chips got better and everything advanced. And with machine learning, that's where it learns over time with use. For
Mm.
example, if you're driving a Tesla, everything that you do in that Tesla is going up to the mothership, to the cloud. By the way, out of the millions of people that have Teslas, it's all going to the cloud, making the mothership smarter about Teslas and actually helping you with problems and so on.
Hmm.
If you use Alexa or Siri or anything like that, the more every individual uses it, the smarter it gets. That's machine learning. Then time got a little bit compressed and something else happened. Deep learning, I'm giving you a quick lesson here.
Yeah. No, this is great.
So we ended up with deep learning. And what deep learning is doing is it can teach itself.
Mm.
Now, it can be human supervised, but it can actually teach itself. I'll give you an example. When OpenAI was developing their system that we are calling ChatGPT, they were searching the world in English. In one 24-hour period, all of a sudden it knew every language.
Wow.
Now, at first, it makes you think, oh, I don't know if I like that. But actually, it makes sense if you know language.
Hmm.
Because if you speak multiple languages, you know there are adverbs and adjectives and the parts of speech. And AI looking for English was stumbling on all the other languages. It was starting to add one and one together, deep learning. And all of a sudden, it's like, bingo, I get it.
Huh.
And it was able to do it. So that's deep learning. Then, about what, 3 years ago now, when OpenAI came out, they introduced us to generative AI, which is unique in that it's generating new content. Before that, what it did was AI was used to review databases and things like that, and then draw things from it that already was there. It's just pulling out the key ingredients. But in
Hmm.
this case, it can create code that hasn't been created. It can create a poem that hasn't been written. It can do pictures. It can do all these different things. So when you think of agentic AI, I'm going to simplify it for you. I'm going to give you one word, not agentic, I'm sorry, generative AI.
Mm.
I'm going to give you one word to understand it. It's about creating. So generative AI is about creating. What do you want to create? Then we had agentic AI. That's newer, although I've been forecasting that for the last 15 years, but here we are. And what agentic AI, I'm going to give you a one word definition. It's not about creating, it's about doing.
Okay.
So
Yep.
you give it a job to do, and it actually can pull other AIs in to help it do it. And a great example is a self driving taxi. It's not creating new content. It's
Right.
we want you to do this, take this person to that point. And it's actually using multiple AI tools within the taxi and in the cloud to make that happen.
Hmm.
Good definition of agentic AI.
Yeah.
Now, I went through that little learning session just to help us to realize that we have different tools. Deep learning is still out there and can be used for something. It isn't like now it's obsolete.
Hmm.
Machine learning can be used for a lot of great things in companies. It's not obsolete either. We just have increasingly new, more powerful tools to use. The biggest barrier is our mindset. It's our mindset. That's where fear comes from and everything else. So let me just talk about fear of AI.
Yeah.
AI increasingly, I'm giving you a prediction now, can do horrible things or wonderful things increasingly.
Mm.
For example, AI was used in less than a month to develop the first new antibiotic we've had in 60 years. By the
Wow.
way, I've got a big list of things like that that would make you say, wow, am I glad that was being used?
Yeah.
But of course, we can also make a deep fake of anyone, and it could say and do something that you had never said or done.
Right.
So we've got the negative and the positive. So here's my take on that. And that is, I would suggest everybody watching this, or at least the far majority, I think you're all good people. Why don't we use AI to do amazingly good things as we protect ourselves from the people that are doing amazingly bad things
Yeah.
by having a zero trust policy, for example. I won't get into all of that now because we only have so much time in our interview. But so there, a hard trend is AI is going to be increasingly used by people. And I was asked when ChatGPT first came out, will humans be replaced by AI? My answer was humans will be replaced by humans using AI.
That's a good
And
answer.
and we've got a productivity revolution happening right now.
Yep.
Right now. It's a real revolution. And what we're doing is we're automating the repetitive stuff that is keeping you from doing higher level jobs. And AI is going to be, well, I mentioned I taught biology at one time. It's a symbiotic relationship. Now, what that means for those that don't remember their biology is two different creatures that live together because they can't live without each other.
Oh,
And so here's another way to think of it. We're going to use it for augmented thinking. So let me give
I
you a
like that.
perfect example. If you know someone that has cancer, heaven forbid, you're going to need an oncologist.
Hmm.
And right now, AI knows more than any living oncologist. It knows every test that's ever been given, X-ray, MRI, every chemo. It knows all that stuff. No human doctor can know all that and just recall it like that. AI can do that. So if you know someone with cancer, I'm going to give you three choices. Number one, just AI. Number two, a really good oncologist. Number three, a really good oncologist that has access to AI. Bingo, that's your future. That's mine.
Yeah.
And I think those of you using AI know that it'll get you 80% there fast,
Yeah.
not 100%. It's a first draft, not a last draft assistant.
That's true.
And when it comes to schools, I say, good, because what it's going to do is help us with critical thinking. And instead of grading you on what your answer was, we're going to start grading you on how did you get that answer?
I love that.
All right. So we're going
Hmm.
deeper back into it. How did you get there? Where did you come? And of course, if you can't say, obviously AI did the whole thing.
That's right.
uh, I'm covering a lot of ground fast, but then I'm going to give you a chance to ask me some questions, I promise. But
No worries.
but let me say that a trend, I mentioned hard trends and soft trends.
Hmm.
So a trend by itself is frankly academic until you attach an opportunity to it.
Okay.
So there's two things I was teaching all of the people today. That is, a trend is either a hard trend based on a future fact that will happen, or it's a soft trend based on an assumption that might happen. And then the other key thing is you need an opportunity. What's the opportunity of the soft trend? If you don't like it, you can change it.
Oh.
You can influence it.
Mm.
What's the opportunity of a hard trend? You can see disruption before it disrupts, turning disruption into a choice. I've written 6 books. If you read one of my older books, way back in 1993, that was a book called Technotrends. There's a section in there called Blockbuster is Busted. If you read under it, you'll get a perfect description of Netflix. I didn't know they would call it Netflix. You can't predict everything, but I knew that the tech would be there to do that.
Hmm.
And you'll also see what became smartphones and other things way back in 93, putting accurate time frames on it. But I don't want to be the only guy that can do that. That's why I write books. That's why I've got learning systems, because I want you all to be more anticipatory.
Yes.
So now let's look at search engines
Oh, yeah.
and search engine optimization.
Hmm.
We spent a lot of money on that. Well, what's happening? AI is disrupting the heck out of all of that.
Yeah.
And it's not going away. And as a matter of fact, your website should be search engine optimized because if you aren't, you probably don't have a good website. However, to find you and your company, we're not going to be sending people to your website.
Hmm.
AI is not going to do that. So you're going to have a instead of search engine optimization, SEO, it's AEO. And there's new rules and new ways of doing that. And let's face it, those of us that are in the know that we now have Perplexity coming out with Comet,
Yeah.
and they've got their own search engine now. And of course, ChatGPT couldn't let that go by without them taking action. So now we've got Atlas.
Yep.
By the way, you can easily predict we're going to have a bunch of those.
Hmm.
The problem with that is too many search engines how many are we going to use? So there's probably going to be some winners and some losers here. But the really big message is you better start getting a good handle on how to use AI and be found when AI is doing some searches, because it's not the old search engine optimization way. That is decreasing in value as the other is increasing in value.
Exactly. I know we started writing for AEO and AI being discovered on AI engines. And ever since we did that, our subscribers haven't doubled, but they've definitely increased. And my reach has increased. That has doubled for sure. And I notice we are starting to show up in AI searches, and it's just been phenomenal. It's the future, like you said.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And
Mhm.
so I think my guess is the people that are subscribing to this and watching this are already interested in AI, and I'll bet you aren't very fearful anymore.
Right.
You may have, now, should we be worried about it? Yes. And as a matter of fact, the United States is the only country that does not have any guidelines, any government guidelines for AI. And
Oh,
frankly, that is not a good thing
mhm.
because of all the bad stuff that can happen.
Yeah.
Typically, what government does is they wait until there's a major crisis, and then they say, okay, we need a regulation.
Yeah.
But that crisis could be really big.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll start being a little more anticipatory, a little less reactionary, and realize maybe we need some guidelines and start getting a few of those.
Exactly. And I love the hard trends versus the soft trends. And the facts are for the hard trends and the assumptions are the soft trends. That I never heard of it explained that way. And it makes so much sense. And why your anticipatory framework helps leaders identify those disruptions before it happens. So, how can companies apply that mindset to AI integration, especially as the innovation cycles just keep accelerating?
Yeah, exactly. The instinct that we have, which is wrong, is that I need to keep up somehow, but it's really hard to keep up.
Yeah.
And what I would say is keeping up is a fool's game. You're always going to be keeping up to somebody who's ahead of you. The key is you need to jump ahead. But how can you jump ahead when the future is unknown? And
Yeah.
the answer is you can if it's based on hard trends,
Hmm.
because those are things we know will happen. I gave you a quick demographic example. There's thousands of those. And I work with companies all over the world, and I'm an advisor to the Joint Chiefs and the Department of Defense on AI.
Yeah.
They're using my hard trend, soft trend methodologies. So is Lockheed Martin and others. So
Good.
is Google, by the way. So is Microsoft. By the way, you can too. And you could go to Burrus, BURRUS.com, and find out far more. Or link with me on LinkedIn. I've got over 1 million followers there because I share a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Join the conversation.
Mhm.
But I think one of the resources I wanted to give you all, I'll mention to you, and that is myself and my staff. We've actually reviewed over 1,500 AI tools.
Wow.
Not a lot of people have done that. We have actually
Yeah.
looked at it because you've all seen lists. Here's the best one of this, the best one of
Yeah.
that. You get all this stuff. Have you actually checked them out? So we've actually put them to the test, used them, and then how are companies using them and found out, can they give you a benefit? So what I've done is come up with a list of the 5 top AI tools for a number of categories,
Oh, wow.
application categories. Most people don't even know how you can apply them.
Yeah.
So, in other words, they don't even know the categories, much less the top 5 tools. And so, number one, I'm going to give you that resource in a minute. I also give you case studies in each category of how companies are applying them.
Wow.
I gives you some tips on prompting in there and some other things on agentic versus generative. So to get that, if you go to AIStrategyReport.com,
Okay.
so AIStrategyReport.com. You can download it and have it. And by the way, share that with others. I'm happy to do that. I update that, by the way, every 2 months because hey, things
Oh,
are changing.
yeah. That's great.
There's always new stuff in there. The other one that I wanted to give you all is I've just published my top 25 technology driven hard trends for 2026. And that one, you can go to 25techtrendsreport.com.
Okay.
Yeah, 25techtrendsreport.com. Or you can also just go to burrus.com, burrus.com, and find these things. Not a lot of free resources, but really it's all about mindset. Do we have a legacy mindset holding us back,
Yeah.
or are we embracing? And people that tend to be held back, they've got a wait and see attitude. Let's wait and see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But right now, you can wait and see yourself out of business.
That's true.
So I would like you, instead of wait and see, to have an embrace and extend. Embrace the new hard trend shaping the future. And it's more than AI, by the way. Internet of Things and 3D printing and all these things. I mean, it's amazing. Take a look at my list of trends. You'll see
Yeah.
we've got multiple revolutions happening simultaneously, and AI does influence all of them. And as you all know on this podcast, because I know you're keeping track of AI, we've got daily announcements
Yes.
from the big LLMs on here. Now we're making it more interactive. Now we're doing this. Now we're going to, like OpenAI has just said, now you can do agentic and create your own agentic tools.
Yeah.
I swear before you could do a GPT, which was creating your own generative AI tool, but now you can do your own agentic AI tool, which is tailored for you. I mean, whoa.
Yeah.
And we have each one of these giving us more and more new things, but there's a power in focus. And I'm going to share a principle with you because in all of the books that I've written, the 6 books, and again, they've been bestsellers, I think they are because I make it practical for people. Here's a principle I'll share with you. Abundance brings scarcity, scarcity brings abundance.
Okay.
So if you can do anything, you can't think of what to do. But if I give you one thing to do, you'll think of an abundant number of ways to do it.
Yeah. That's true.
So the key is you need to focus in. And another thing I will share with you is that in the business world, we tend to think one or two big AI implementations is
Mhm.
what we need. Usually it's Microsoft Copilot and maybe something else. In other words, good, we're covered. But the reality is, those are generic, kind of good tools, but they're not focused great tools. In other words, you can use Copilot to make a PowerPoint, but actually you would find Gamma could do an even better job, which is a specific tool that's designed just for creating something like that.
Yeah.
So again, I think instead of having a one size fits all in a company, regardless of size, my advice is to look at my report, look at all these different tools that we've got, and the marketing team may need a different set of tools than the sales team, which may need a different set of tools than
Hmm.
HR, which may need a different one. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
So instead of a one size fits all, why don't we find what are the best tools for trying to accomplish what I'm needing to do? And if my IT department isn't supporting those, I'll use them on my personal device
That's true.
because people already are.
Yeah. They already are.
However, I'm advising you to not put client names and social security numbers or anything like that in those tools. In other words, be careful of what you're sharing in there. Always think that it's going out unless you've created what ChatGPT calls a team.
Mm.
So the smallest team is 2 people,
Hmm.
and you're getting enterprise level security by doing that.
That's nice. Yeah.
And you can do that with Perplexity and the other ones as well. They just don't call it a team, they call it something else. But again, there's a way of getting security without having to pay the big bucks if you take a look a little deeper.
Yeah. What's something that could change a person's mindset from the wait and see to being more proactive?
I did this with someone who, this was, boy, a year and a half ago,
Hmm.
and she was very skeptical. She is got a PhD and she counsels fire and police over trauma.
Wow.
So she counsels them through trauma. And she was, I don't know about this AI stuff and all that. And by the way, she runs a company that does that. So I said, well, tell you what, why don't I sit down next to you? I'll open it up. I bring Chad up, and I gave Chad a prompt to write a prompt for someone who is experiencing trauma, and from a event like a fire police run into. Anyway, I created a prompt, and I said, write a poem about it,
Hmm.
and pushed the button. And as you know, in about 30 seconds, we got great poem. So great that she actually was, by the time she got to, I think, the fourth verse, I could see that she was getting teary eyed.
Wow.
I mean, it was a beautiful piece that was written. And by the way, what was I doing? Changing her thinking.
Yes. Yeah.
And the first thing she said is, "Can I use this?" And I said, "You could. You can't copyright it because you can't copyright something a machine does, only something that a human does. And if you want to use it, my advice is you want to maintain trust in a
Hmm.
human-centered world." So what I would do is say, I put this prompt into ChatGPT to write a poem, and I was amazed at what it did, and then offset it and italicize it.
Oh, yeah.
See, now people that read your stuff will know that you're reading my stuff. And when I use AI, I'll let you know and offset it. Now, the
Hmm.
reason for that is we live in an increasingly technological world, yes. However, we live in a human world, and it's all based on relationships. And good relationships are all based on trust. And you never want to lose trust.
That's true.
My advice is if you're sharing a statistic, double, triple check it through different sources. If you got it from the internet, definitely. If you got it from social media, definitely.
Yeah.
And even if you're using AI and you say, give me the source of that information,
Hmm.
they can make that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they'll say it's a Fast Company article. Ah, not Fast Company never. Look at Fast Company. They didn't ever wrote that.
Hmm.
So it's up to us to maintain our trust with the people that we're serving, whoever that is.
Yep.
We need to double, triple check these things so that we continue to be trusted.
Yes. I agree. I love that. And could you share an example of how a company successfully used AI to stay ahead of the change rather than being blindsided by it so that it really is turning disruption into advantage?
Absolutely. I've got many, hundreds actually. There is a company out on the East Coast that is a real estate company, and they've got a CRM, customer relationship management system,
Hmm.
and they paid a developer to add AI to their CRM.
Oh.
And the market has been good but not great out there.
Hmm.
They are doing their best year ever. They just got an award for being the best in the entire East Coast of the United States. And they're getting all these awards, making money like crazy. And it's all because of this integrating AI into their CRM with parameters around.
Yeah. That's awesome. And what kind of information are they seeing that is helping them anticipate that change?
Better qualified leads for
Okay.
buying a house
Okay.
because they're in
Great.
real estate. So it's all about leads, but it's
Hmm.
about good leads, leads that would fit exactly what is available.
That's true.
And again, with AI helping, it's more than just a CRM and a list of names, et cetera, et cetera. It's doing far more than that. It can
Hmm.
even anticipate when somebody's thinking about selling their home.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? Like, that's mind blowing to me.
Yeah. Another one similar is using AI. You can clone your voice, right? You
Mm.
can clone your voice perfectly.
Hmm.
Uh, so a friend of mine has a business. He does quite a bit of speaking and so on. And they said, your throat surgery, you're going to not sound good for about a month and a half. So before having the surgery, he cloned his voice so that when he talks, his good voice comes out.
Oh, nice.
Well, an example. By the way, what else could he do? It could come out in Japanese, couldn't it?
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
come out in any language.
Oh,
So now all of a sudden, some new doors of opportunity start opening up rather than just dealing with a bad throat.
yeah. Exactly.
So there are, again, there are countless examples of ways that they can be used.
I love that. And as AI becomes more embedded in the leadership decisions, what human capabilities remain essential for guiding that strategy and maintaining trust in an automated world?
Well, luckily, way before ChatGPT was introduced, about 4 or 5 years before, I started putting together a list of the competencies that humans will need to beat AI. And if you go to my website, burrus.com, you could even do a search on my blogs, because I've written thousands of them, about that subject. But let me give you some examples. First of all, AI is not good at relationship building.
Yeah.
So that's one. Number two, empathy. Not very good. It can say, "Oh, I feel sorry for you," but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not very good at collaboration.
Hmm.
It's not very good at communication. It's not very good at strategic listening. It's not very good at emotional intelligence.
Wow.
And by the way, a matter of fact, it's lousy at those things. So I think us humans need to make sure that we're getting much better at the things AI is not very good at.
Yeah.
And if you think of it, there's a flip that's happening. And that is when we go to school, whether it's high school, college, or whatever, we learn our subjects, and then there are the soft subjects, right? The soft subjects might be creativity, problem solving. And by the way, there's usually no classes on those subjects.
Right.
Those are the soft subjects. So I like to think of it this way: every profession has a science and an art.
I like
And
that.
we learn the science in college or in school. We learn the art when we get out and start applying it. Now, if it was all a science, it wouldn't matter who your doctor is because they
Right.
all got A's.
That's true.
They all got good grades. They all graduated and went through all that stuff. It's the artist that you want. It's the person who's the better person at creatively applying what they learned to
Yeah.
doing what they're trying to do. Now they're the problem solvers. There's the one that learned those soft skills that go along with the hard skills. So what's interesting is AI is getting really good at the science.
Hmm.
So in school, maybe school needs to be teaching a lot more of the art part,
Oh, I love that.
the creative, the critical thinking,
Yes.
the how to solve problems, innovation, et cetera, et cetera. The higher levels of what's called the cognitive domain,
Hmm.
which is analysis, problem solving, synthesis. That's where humans really outshine everything.
Oh, yeah. I
So,
love that perspective.
so yeah, well, and hey, I want to beat the machine. I think you do too.
Hmm.
And there's an old saying when it comes to learning new things, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. My answer to that is, luckily, we're not dogs. So,
I love that.
so humans are infinitely upgradable, infinitely upgradable. We can learn new things all the time. So my message is, if you don't like learning new things, if you don't like rapid change, you're probably not like the future.
Yeah.
But one way to start feeling more comfortable about the future is to start defining some hard trends, future facts.
Yes.
What do we know? Let's take a look at technology. Let's take a look at demographics. What do we know?
Hmm.
Let's take a look at some cycles. I've met so many Fortune 50 CEOs that have said, well, of course, nothing is predictable. And I would say in this hemisphere right now, I would say, well, right now it's fall. I predict next is winter. I think I'll be right.
Yeah.
By the way, there's over 200 known cycles that repeat.
Wow.
And by the way, that helps you to get a little handle on the future, doesn't it? And then once you
Yeah.
start looking at the hard trends and the opportunities, the soft trends, and the ability to influence them in a positive direction, whoa, it gets to be powerful.
Yes. Well,
So let's be less reactionary.
hmm,
Let's be more anticipatory. And let's not have just a wait and see, but rather let's be active shapers of the future
yeah,
rather than passive receivers of the future.
exactly.
See,
Yep.
an active shaper is how do I create a better future for myself and others instead of, well, let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah. That's so powerful. Yeah. And using your hard trends, how do you see the trajectory of AI over the next 3 to 5 years? What is shaping the world of
Well,
AI?
beyond exponential growth
Yep.
of the tool. See, we talk a lot about the hardware, the AI hardware. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, software runs a lot of it, but it's more about what are we deciding to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
And are we using it to solve all our problems, or are we using it to help us to do that? And by the way, if they were using it to help us, we'll solve even better problems with better solutions.
It's
See,
true.
I don't want the solution that pops out of AI. I want to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
But then what I'll do as a human say, now, how can I transform that solution into something far better?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where the old human brain starts coming in.
That's exciting. What do you think's going to happen?
Just in the next several years, we will not just change, because change is a lower level activity. We're going to transform
Yeah.
every business process. How we
Mm-hmm.
sell, how we market, how we communicate, how we collaborate, how we innovate, how we train, how we educate. You go, you put the list in, we're going to transform it. How do I know that? Actually, the tools, including AI, to do that already exist. An easy prediction. Now, that's the hard trend. What's the soft trend? Will you, the person who's listening to this right now, will you transform your processes? I don't
Oh,
know. That's soft.
yeah.
That's a soft trend. I don't know.
It's
You
true.
may not. But remember, a soft trend you can act on. You
Yes.
can do something about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is going to be used. Let's use it to do good.
Yes.
It's going to give us increasing capabilities. Let's look at how we can, again, as a first draft assistant, instead of replacing us, what I want to do is jump on the productivity revolution, automate a lot of the low level tasks that all of us do.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, before this latest couple of versions of AI have come out, if you did a lot of repetitive tasks and you went to your IT department, regardless of the size of your company, and said, I'd like to automate my repetitive tasks, I want to do higher level activities, they would have said, sorry, we're busy.
Yeah.
But today, if you look at my list in that AI strategy report, you'll find you could actually automate a lot of your stuff by yourself.
That's great.
And some of it you do for free, freeing you to do higher level, more important things. Because here's another thing for every one of you, you are far more capable of doing amazing things than you have currently discovered. By
Mm-hmm.
the way, that's true for every person that's seeing and watching this right now.
Yeah.
There's far more to you than you have discovered, a lot more. But you're busy. You're really busy. By the way, you can busy yourself out of business.
That's true.
So I would like you to, we'll still be busy a little bit, but I'd like you to also be a little more strategic, a little more future focused, a
Mm-hmm.
little more asking yourself, what do we know instead of what don't we know? What can we be certain about? And what's the power, the ultimate power of a hard trend? I'll give you right now. And that is it gives you certainty in an uncertain world. Because
Mm-hmm.
wow, do we have a lot of uncertainty right now? What's going to happen with this and that? All this uncertainty. Uncertainty does not give you the confidence to move forward. And by the way, if a customer is uncertain, what do they say? I'll get back to you.
Mm-hmm.
However, hard trends are based on future facts that will happen. What does it do? It gives you certainty.
Yeah.
And when you have certainty, you have the confidence to make a bold move
Yeah.
because you realize it's going to happen anyway. And I call it the cost of the no. The
Mm-hmm.
cost of not doing it is greater than the cost of doing it in
Yeah.
terms of loss of relevance, loss of income, loss of customers, because all of that can happen in today's world. Hey, if Google can be losing billions and billions because their search engine is becoming less relevant and you're not using it as much, if it can happen to them, it can
Yeah.
happen to little old you, whoever little old you is.
Yeah. I love that. And for leaders who are trying to future proof their organizations, what's one action they can take today that will still matter in a couple of years from now?
One thing I would suggest, and you're just starting to learn about the difference between hard trends and soft trends,
Yeah.
it would be great if you could pick up my book, The Anticipatory Organization, which has been a bestseller, or you could go look at some of my blogs and read those for free. But what I would suggest is, why don't you start asking yourself, what am I certain about?
Mm.
Instead of what am I not certain about, which is a giant list.
Yeah.
By the way, that doesn't empower you. What am I certain about? What are some things that I do know? Because once you get a list of things that you do know and then some opportunities tied to them, wow, it's hard to not take action.
Exactly.
And I do a lot of keynote speaking. And I think last year my biggest audience was 20,000. My second biggest is 10,000. So I have a lot of big groups
Mm-hmm.
as well as smaller groups. But I always have them at the end of a speech, regardless of the length of the speech. I have the individuals all write down one hard trend and a related opportunity. And then I have them make it a good one because they give it to me. I turn it into a report and give it back to them a couple of weeks after the meeting so that they can see all of these amazing hard trends and opportunities so they can maybe pick one and take action on it. So, what I would suggest you do is see if you can come up with a few, look, think about demographics, think about hard trends, think about how you can innovate around that with low risk. And wow,
Yeah.
look at
Possibilities are
demographics.
endless.
Yeah, a lot of people love to go boating and fishing, but when they get in their 80s or 90s, it gets kind of hard to launch the boat.
Hmm.
We got, 10,000 people turning 70 every day. By the way, that's called the growing market.
Hmm.
So, what if we created the easy launch trailer for seniors?
Oh, yeah.
Would we have a growing market every year?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could actually take those numbers to the bank and get a loan off of it. Would we know what countries to export to and what countries not to export to? Yeah, we know the aging populations and we know the ones that are young. In other words, wow, I got a low risk ability to do something and to innovate.
Hmm.
Now, I might use AI to help me 80% design that thing for seniors.
Yeah.
And I might use AI to help me even target the seniors to market to. Now, right now, a trailer for seniors, it doesn't exist, a boat launch,
Hmm.
system like that. Do you think that's impossible? That will not happen?
Now I think it could.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because if
Hmm.
you can think it and it's based on a hard trend, here's what I say. If you don't do it, someone else will.
Exactly.
And
Wow.
I'm named in dozens and dozens of patents because in my speeches, I give examples for the industry I'm speaking to of things that don't exist based on a hard trend that will exist. And I usually just say, hey, look, I'm too busy to do that one. I could make another billion. Why don't you go do it? And there are companies that do that and they got all this name where they heard about it. So that's how I get named in the patent. But I don't get any money out of that. I don't care. What
Hmm.
I'm doing is I'm getting people to be anticipatory, to realize how to innovate with low risk, how this transforms how you plan, how you innovate. And when you look at AI, you'll look at AI differently when you realize this is a total hard trend. It is not going away.
Yeah.
How we use it is soft
Yeah. Exactly.
and that's moldable. And let's use it to do amazing things.
Oh my gosh. That's so inspirational. I want to just go out and go invent things now.
Good.
Thank you so much. I love this conversation. It really has been informative and helpful and inspirational, and you've provided so much information. So I really appreciate that. Real quick before we wrap up, I always love to ask when you do step away from your work, what are some activities or hobbies that you're passionate about?
Oh, wow. I have many. Well, first of all, I play about a dozen musical instruments. I was
Wow.
playing a flute earlier today in between a call, and I was playing a guitar. And then, so I do that. I've got motorcycles, I got boats. I'm into photography, I'm into filmmaking.
Wow.
Actually, we're towards the end here, but let me share something to
Yeah.
consider.
Yeah.
When I was very young, I knew I had a relative that was turning 100.
Hmm.
And I asked myself, I wonder if that person, if he has discovered all that's inside.
Mm.
And I thought to myself, probably not. And then I thought, I wonder if mom and dad did. Probably not. Grandma and grandpa, not. Probably not. Probably nobody has.
Hmm.
I would like to discover what's inside. So I came up with a process. So what I did, and I've been doing it for decades and decades and decades, is to learn one new thing every year.
Wow.
And so one year I learned how to fly. One year I learned how to make films. One year I got into photography. One year I learned how to play the piano. One year I learned how to scuba dive. One year I learned how to sail. One year I learned how to navigate. One year, and the years add up and it
Yeah.
gives you a giant breadth. So when you ask me, what am I doing on the side? I've got a giant list.
Oh, yeah.
But my point here is we all could have a big list.
Yeah.
You may be the best flute player in the world, but if you never picked one up, you'd never know.
Hmm. That's true.
So wouldn't you like to know? So now I'm just picking the flute as an example. And by the way, if you try the flute and it doesn't work very good, Try something else. There's thousands of instruments,
Yeah.
but maybe it's not music. Maybe it's something else. You decide.
Hmm.
So consider one new thing a year as perhaps something you might want to try adapting yourself.
I love that. And then it also sets you up to look for other things that you can learn about and try. And that just helps you in your business as well. It's a good mindset to have.
All
Yeah.
right. So I gave you a bigger answer than you thought.
That's good. No, I love it. I know for a lot of people, the pace of change can feel overwhelming, but your conversation today and your approaches and your insights have just it's changed how I look at AI, and I've been doing AI for 2 years now, and it's just so exciting to see that you can find opportunity instead of just, waiting and seeing what happens or getting left behind. So, thank you so much for joining us and so much for sharing your insights. I really appreciate you joining us today.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. And again, those resources that Daniel is offering is Top 25 Tech Trends Report for 2026. It can be found at 25techtrendsreport.com and the AI Strategy Report at AIStrategyReport.com. And I'll also put the links below. And you can also check out his website at burrus.com. Keeping you connected to tomorrow. Today, this is Alicia with AiNews.com.